Hello viewers, I thought I'd include a short video as requested about how to use 80/20 aluminum rails for constructing your truck camper cabinet. So these are examples of 80/20 10 series or 1-inch rails that they sell. And this one has 4 tracks. This is sort of the standard rails that you see. And I bought this from T-Nuts. The width is 1 inch. The inside track is a 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters. And you can see there are 4 tracks, and there's a hole in the center, which is a smooth bore hole. We'll talk about why that could be useful in your construction. So this one has 4 tracks, but they also make other rails with different number of tracks. This one has only 2 tracks, here and here, and the 2 other sides are smooth. This is particularly helpful if you want to have a nice appearance on the surface of your cabinets, so you can provide a nice smooth surface. So those are your choices. So for my project, I used 3 different types of method of joining these rails together. So the very first one is L bracket. It has a 90-degree angle and has holes where you can put screws in. So the way it works is that you get these T-nuts, and they fit in to that groove, like so. And then what you do is you put your T-nut, you put your bracket, and then you use your 6 millimeter hex bolt. You stick it in here. And then all you do is you turn it in using an Allen key or a screwdriver with a hex bolt. Okay. And then what you do on the other side is put your T-rail in here. And then you line that up. You get a very strong joint. It will not move, it's locked in place. Very nice. Okay. Next type of bracket is the hidden L bracket. And what it is it actually falls within the groove, and they're really small Allen key bolts. They fit right in here. And then use a very small Allen key, and you secure it by turning these Allen keys to lock it in place. And then once you lock it in place, you can put another rail right here, like so. And all you have to do is screw in the Allen keys. Here. This gets a little tricky because these bolts are very close. And so it takes a little bit longer to screw in. But when you're done, you have a very good joinery. The advantage of that is that it's narrow profile. So you can actually put a wooden panel in here and it wouldn't cause a problem. You could just put it in there versus this kind of bracket where you really can't slide a wooden panel unless you cut it at an angle. So 2 very simple ways of joining your rail system together. The way I created my cabinetry was to use this L bracket to create the joint between the bottom rails, and then I used a rail, vertical rail, and I put it on top of the other rail, base rail. The way I connected the two was to use what is called an end fastener. And the way this works is that this end fastener lies within the groove of the T-rail and it's locked in place. And the way you get access to the head of the screw is you have to drill a hole right there. There's a jig device, but basically you're going to drill a hole that is big enough for you to access the head of the screw. And so basically we're talking about a hole that's probably going to be about 6 millimeters. So you drill a 6 millimeter hole, you put this in place. So you put this place in here. And then what you have to do is this, on this vertical piece, you have to create a groove that will allow it to accept the screw. Now this is smooth, so there's a device that allows you to create a spiral groove that will allow you to accept this screw. And then from the other side of the rail, through that hole, you can access it with your screwdriver to allow you to turn the screw, which will then lock this in place. So that is the way I did it. The advantage of that is that you create a very strong joint between the vertical post and the base. The disadvantage is that what happens is this rail right here is exposed right there. So you have to get a square end cap to cover that up to create a nice smooth look. Also on the vertical rail, if it's exposed where anyone can see the rail, what I will use is a 2-track rail with 2 other sides being smooth, so it gives you a nice clean look on the outside of the cabinetry. So it'll look like that when you see the cabinet. Having said that, I think if I were to do it again, this is not the way I would have done it. The way I would have done it was, in retrospect, is I would have used hidden brackets. Now, the way that would work is, you see here, I'm leaving a gap between the two bottom base, and I will use this type of bracket. It's called a hidden bracket. It has 2 sets of bolts that you can screw in with an Allen key on one side and another 2 on the other side. And the way it works is that you put this in here. You put the other one on the other side. And then you can put your rail right between in these hidden brackets, and they'll fall along within the groove. There we go. And it falls into place like this. And then you just screw in these smaller bolts. And it locks everything in place. And I think I would have done it this way in retrospect. It's just easier, less time consuming than using end fasteners, which involve drilling holes and creating grooves and all that stuff. So this would have been much faster. Now, what about adding wood panels? Well, there's a very simple way of doing that. You put these T-nuts, and then you use this 2-hole bracket, rectangular bracket, aluminum bracket. Now you lock that in place, and then you could put your wood panel, and then all you have to do is use a wood screw. You can imagine if this was a wood screw, I would first drill a hole and then put that in place, and it'll lock the wood from moving. Okay. Now people asked, why did you use 3/4 inch plywood? Can't you use 1/4 inch plywood and stick it within the groove? And you certainly can. Remember that if you use a hidden bracket, you'll have to recess you'll have to cut out the wood to allow it to slide into this channel. The only reason I didn't do that is most of the cabinetry, when I put the wood, they had hinges to be opened and closed. So for the most part, I didn't see a reason why you wanted to use 3/4 inch plywood here, which will offset the wood from the panel, versus 3/4 inch, which I think looks a little nicer and cleaner. It tends to be a little bit more flush. If you were to look at it from the outside, it tends to look a little more flush with the rail. I think if you used a 1/4 inch, it would be reset a little bit further back like this. I don't know. It's a matter of choice, I guess. But since I had a bunch of 3/4 inch plywood, that's what I used. Anyway, I hope that helps. Good luck on your construction.